question again?
I have a.
What?
Oh, never mind.
Go ahead, Claire.
Well, I was going to make a joke. I was going to say, you've got a queen in the room and a diva performer talking to you right now. Don't you think we would love to be recorded?
Wait, which role am I?
Now that Lisa's gone. We love you, Lisa.
Well, you've got, hang on a sec. I've got to keep putting my glasses back on. So Cleo, you've got queen in your he, they, queen. So you get to be queen in this one and I get to be the diva performer.
Got it.
But you're welcome to be both.
Now, I think if I was a diva, tell it to my bank account. She's starving for attention. So the question was, what are tangible goals towards a more productive and healthier self within this global moment, this pandemic?
Yeah. So we love that question, Cleo. Thank you. We are going to consult the Now What Oracle.
Is this kind of like Wheel of Fortune? We'll just tell you when to stop, or?
It is kind of like that, yeah. And actually, we have different ways of doing it, but I think we'll just each take turns. We're going to get typically we take 3 pieces of information. So Cleo's asked the question. Mark, Tina, and Claire, you can each sort of tell me when. I'll hide the pop-ups. So whenever you say, now, I will pick that person and we'll see what information we get.
Oh.
All right, there it is. Ben Wolf. Hello, Ben. I know you. Local and international communicator and community builder, Canadian art of hosting, contact, photographer, poet, tech and communication skills. Repeat the question again, Cleo. What small things, practical, tangible things can we do to
get to a more productive and healthier self under this global pandemic moment?
Right, more productive and anybody making a connection here? I mean, I know, Ben, I could totally riff on this, but.
Well, if Ben's last name implies that they're Jewish, we're already on a good start for guidance.
I don't know. I haven't asked him. We did a course together recently with Michelle Holliday and Kathy Jourdain on the pandemic, actually. The pandemic as portal, inspired by Arundhati Roy's piece from a year ago.
Ask him how he feels about gefilte fish. If he gets a really loud, kvetching rejection about it, you know where he falls in the tribe.
Yeah. I was trying to move over to this workshop on thrivability in the pandemic and worldview, kind of reconnecting with a little tribe there. So
I would say, Ben, as I'm looking at it, for me, it's like just be creative. Like, so the photography, the poetry, and the communication. So communicate with myself. So use my art for self-empathy and just to kind of explore and express how I'm feeling, and then share it with the community, because there might be others that resonate or at least will enjoy it.
Yeah. Boom. Thank you, Oracle. Anyone else got something here to add? I mean, it's kind of hilarious because Ben, he does a lot of the kind of stuff I do. He does the tech facilitation for large virtual engagements. He's also really into the 6 conversations, Tina.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he's basically, he's a little more professional than I am. Like they're doing a whole thing in New Zealand. Michelle Holiday is, and he's supporting it, on reimagining the entire tourism industry for the country. And I think the government's part of the conversation as a regenerative enterprise, as having its primary goal being to enhance, the life and thriving in the land, in the place, among the people. That should be the goal of tourism, not an extractivist industry, that it currently is. So that's the kind of work he's doing. And anyway, but it's just, to me, he stands for a lot of what we're doing. And now what? I'm just getting creative about putting the tools we have in our hands now, to work and just doing shit. All right. Thank you, Ben. Mark?
Nope.
Is that it? Or did I go back?
Who's that?
I don't know. I haven't clicked yet. You said up sort of over here, but
Yeah, there are so many dots, it's going to be hard to go back. Rachel W. I speak English and conversation. Okay, forward to supporting families remotely. Here you go. Someone who's
we met a year ago because she was putting on remote educational stuff. So in the early days of COVID, when all the schools were suddenly online and nobody kind of knew what the hell to do, and parents needed something for their kids to do that was educational. And she collaborated with a guy named Peter Whitehouse to do a whole climate thing with trees and climate. And it was part of Now What, a year ago.
and a proud member of the LGBTQIA plus community. But she's not saying if she's Jewish or not.
Once enough.
Although with Rachel, a good chance.
Yeah, good chance.
I think something I took out of this, when you go more up, the part of it says, I look forward in supporting families remotely during this time. So I'm a big believer that if there is a void in me, in a need, let's say I need to be heard, I think of who's around me, who needs to be listened to, give what I need, and then hopefully that returns. I remember having a conversation with a mother and her daughter in a restaurant while I was working on something, and she was talking about how she wants to get her kid back into school, and how she struggled learning remotely. And she found out about my teaching artistry and seeing how much folks really need affirming folks who understands child's needs to teach them remotely. So like the need of tutoring has really went up in urban areas. And like I had a few gigs to be able to teach, but if I'm able to monetize something or even give back, or any way I could, I would. I definitely been hard, even with digital tools, to connect with people, because I prefer, and people I know prefer, in-person contact. So that's what was coming to mind.
Of course. Of course. This isn't a substitute for being in person. It's another way to connect as an option, but it's not supposed to replace it. Tina, you haven't picked someone yet, right?
Oh, no, I did.
Oh, you did. Was it Claire then who hasn't done it?
Yeah.
Well, Tina, you better turn it up.
Claire's doing it now.
So bearing in mind, I'm on my phone, so the screen is so tiny. Stop. Oh, you kept going. Stop.
Do I need to go back?
Well, go more into the center.
All right. Sorry, Caroline. I love you.
Stop there. Stop.
That one?
Yes, I mean, it's all the same to me right now.
Keala Young. Hello, Keala. His name came up yesterday, I think, talking to somebody who's involved with the Global Eco Village Network. Which she
Yep.
is.
What's a regenerate? I just don't understand their job title.
That's so perfect.
So like I went from being
Thank you,
guided to
Theo.
being lost, and I'm not feeling resilient. Yes. We do share one thing in common, but I won't mention what it is.
The catalyst spot.
A regenerative practitioner and planetary era catalyst is somebody who recognizes that our primary task at this time in history is to rebuild and restore the vital capacities of the planet and our communities and ourselves. That regeneration is about creating more value than you extract through what you do. And our current system and the trajectory we're hurtling on a cliff, over a cliff on, is all about extracting as much value as you can and externalizing all the costs and taking as much profit for yourself as possible out of that whole game. So regenerative is the opposite of that. It's the opposite of extractive. And he's thinking on a planetary systemic scale and trying to create change. That's what that means to me. And
Right. As beautiful as it sounds, it's a great supplement, that story, for a Xanax. And it makes me feel sleepy.
So
Boy.
dialing that into our question here.
Where's
Does it help?
Cascadia?
Washington, isn't it?
Yeah, he's actually in the what's the river that has the giant canyon that comes out by Portland?
I thought at this point he was like on some like
Come on.
another dimension and on some like reality game, and it's called Cascadia, you know. Because
It does sound like one.
I'm not enlightened to
Pacific Northwest.
process,
You're such
Settlers
a
of Catan or something. Yeah.
or my cells are degenerating.
I do love
Brain cells.
So someone else want to take I have a hit on this one. I can make some meaning here, but I'm
That was, but by the way, Ben, that was a perfect description of the job.
Thank you.
Yeah. Come on, Belle. Come on, love.
It was very apropos that you had that reaction too, because we've been told, you know, that the language we use a lot of the time just doesn't make sense to a whole lot of people that we would like to be able to speak to, that we don't want to be sort of sending a message, you don't fit in here because you don't understand what the hell we're saying.
Yeah.
And you know, that there's a certain kind of privilege in the language, and so we're I hear what your reaction is a hilarious echo of what came across once as a fairly harsh criticism, not from you.
I like very much your directness, Cleo.
Yes.
Mm-mm.
Me too.
Those examples are part of the reasons why I haven't ended up in the sciences. I think I would just become a lost, or I just force myself to become a test tube because I can't take it on, the information. But it's important. Science is important, just not for me.
Well, actually, that looks more so dive more into humans' behavior and what's impeding our potential, human potential.
Speak.
Living in
Preach.
boxes, you know.
Tell us more. Tell me more.
What?
Yes.
Tell me more. Tell me more. Does it
Yeah.
come
Na,
from
na,
the store?
na, na.
Yeah,
I don't know the rest of the line.
aren't we all looking for the same answers? And at the end of the day, we keep asking ourselves, what was the question already? Then we'll make up another one tomorrow just because.
Stop.
As I
Yeah.
smoke my kale cigarettes
I doubt
to
it.
find
I'm
to,
going
to,
here.
to enhance my brain to find the answer.
Mm.
I think it's time to land the Now What Oracle. We have closing.
I think it would be.
Yeah.
I think it would be great to do a YouTube series where it's like Ask the Oracle, and like under your channel. I think it'd be really interesting, and then like offer it as like a little game as a way of people connecting. You know, that's a thought.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's actually what we do.
And
Because
different
no one
people-
watches.
And different people could be oracles, or you know, I don't know, switch it up a bit. So
There is another version of this where we do one thing from the map, we do a song, and we do a video clip. But we don't have the playlist built out yet, so we're not quite ready. But within a couple of weeks, we can try that version. Anyway, just I loved your question about, you know, the tangible things we can do to support ourselves and others, and you know, in response to the challenge of this pandemic. And you know, I to me, the message from Keala's work is that small and tangible and practical can also be, you know, complex and global and entangled and you know, big bold ideas that actually it's the scales all linked together. And so who's to say that tinkering in you know, what seems like it's 4 degrees removed from, you know, our daily lived experiences of what we eat and who we see on the streets, or do we even go in the streets, that this level of global networks and linking across scales that I know Keala is doing a lot of work on, and things like eco villages and stuff. It's all good, and it's very easy to get stuck in a trap of, you know, this is the thing to do now versus that thing, and this one can't have an impact. And so I'm taking from this that there's opportunity at all the levels and all the scales. That's also small and tangible and practical.
I love that, Ben. And I love I think you used the word entangled. And that just makes me think of the soil and all the different microbes and insects and worms and everything that's going on, everything kind of touching everything else. Making room for chaos.
Yes,
as
and
well.
kale, for chaos and kale, and the
And
soil.
kale.
The soil connects
Hail
to
the
Ben
kale.
Wolf. Hail the kale. Ben Wolf we were talking a lot about soil in the thing with Michelle and Ben. So and I think Dita's going to do some stuff around soil for this edition of Now What?
Yay.
Literally and metaphorically, right? Well, thank you, Oracle.
Yeah.
Wise oracle.